That right there is the toe bone from a baby dinosaur, and I'm holding it because I'm finally learning the truth about dinosaurs. I've loved dinosaurs since I was a kid, but it turns out that a lot of what I thought I knew is actually wrong. Or at least outdated. So, in this video, I'm gonna show you the cutting edge of dinosaur discovery. I'm gonna give you rare access into a warehouse full of dinosaur bones, go out into the field and try to discover my own fossil, and show you something new these scientists just discovered.
I think we got ourselves a dinosaur.
A new look at dinosaurs.
The golden age of
Dinosaur discovery.
Uncovering almost one new dinosaur species a week.
There's so much more to these amazing creatures that
We really have just begun.
I think I found a dinosaur bone. We're in Alberta, Canada, and we are on our way to an active dinosaur dig site. This is a huge moment in dinosaur discovery. Scientists are discovering more dinosaurs now than at any other time in history. They're finding a new species each week on average, and those discoveries are shaking up what we thought we knew about these ancient animals. The dig site that we're headed to now is special. The rumor is that they've uncovered something really cool. So I don't know what we're gonna find, but my big goal is to actually help discover a dinosaur bone today. If I could do that, oh my God. The site that we're going to is full of a herd of dinosaurs called Pachyrhinosaurus.
We have the big adults, we have the little babies, we have the teenagers.
That's Dr. Emily Bamforth, the paleontologist in charge of this site. They're not sure what exactly killed this herd. It could have been a natural disaster like a flood, but they know that it killed them all at the same time. And then later they were buried in mud that turned to stone over 73 million years. But that's a problem for us today, because they're not preserved as individual animals where they fell. They're all sorta mixed together.
That's right. So we lovingly refer to it as our Pachyrhinosaurus omelet. It's basically hundreds, potentially thousands of animals kind of jumbled up together in this one deposit.
Putting together a dinosaur is kind of like doing a puzzle, except
You don't know what the picture on the front of the box is. You're missing half the pieces. There's pieces from other puzzles thrown in, and then the pieces sometimes are ripped and torn so they don't fit properly.
The hardest jigsaw puzzle in the world.
Basically, yep.
so how do you know that you're doing the puzzle right? How do we know that any of these dinosaurs are right? Well, we're about to see how they do it.
Oh, wow. Oh my God. Here we are.
This is it.
This bone bed is particularly exciting because it's one of the
Densest dinosaur bone beds in North America. So the estimated number of animals is somewhere from 6,000 to 10,000.
Oh my God.
Among all the bones in this huge dinosaur omelet, there's one type that's rare and special to find intact, a skull, and they just found one.
So this thing here is a big skull, and everything that's around it is all bone as well.
Can I touch it?
Yeah, go ahead. It feels like a rock. It basically is a rock.
Are you freaking out right now?
Yeah. I'm totally freaking out right now. This is so awesome.
They're hoping to pull this skull out of the ground in the next few weeks. But if that's a Pachyrhinosaurus skull, how big was the rest of it? It turns out a lot has changed about what we think dinosaurs actually looked like, including their size. So let me show you.
Okay, so I want you to imagine this skull coming out of the ground. It would look like this.
This dinosaur had a big bony bump on the front of its nose called a boss, and a bony frill and horns on the back of its head. Using bones collected in the area and around the world, and referencing similar dinosaurs and animals that are alive today, scientists put together the rest of the skeleton like this.
Now imagine the dinosaur comes back to life. It's about that big, which is huge.
Compared to other dinosaurs, this guy was medium in size, which is wild, and makes me wonder, how big were the rest of them? If you lined up a bunch of dinosaurs from smallest to largest, you'd see the teeny little Anchiornis, just a little bit bigger than a basketball. You'd see the Compsognathus, the size of a small chicken. The famous Velociraptor would actually be here, except in real life they were about this big, which is not the size they looked in Jurassic Park. And newer research shows that they didn't look like that. Velociraptors had feathers. To be fair to Jurassic Park, though, they didn't know that.
The reason the velociraptors don't have feathers is because we didn't know that those kind of dinosaurs had feathers at the time.
In 1998, this discovery in China changed our understanding of what some dinosaurs looked like. And other discoveries since have confirmed that more dinosaurs had feathers than we thought. And there's still a lot of debate about what the color and the outside appearance of dinosaurs actually looked like. We'll get to that in a minute. One step bigger than the velociraptor would be the Nyasasaurus, about the size of a German shepherd. Then our Pachyrhinosaurus would be here. One of my favorites, the Triceratops, was about the height of an Asian elephant, but much longer. Here's the Stegosaurus and the T-Rex. And from here on, the sizes get nutty. These dinosaurs were bigger than school buses. They were taller than buildings. One of the largest known dinosaurs, the Argentinosaurus, was about as long and heavier than a commercial airplane. Can you imagine what it was like when these animals walked the earth? But here's the thing. They didn't all walk it at the same time.
Really common misconception is that all dinosaurs lived all at the same time.
Dinosaurs lived for way longer than most people think. If this is all of recorded human history, and this is the time since humans diverged from apes, this is the time when dinosaurs were alive. Dinosaurs ruled the earth for 180 million years. We are nothing in comparison. And the dinosaurs that we know today were spread out through this enormous history, which means that some of the dinosaurs I think of as being alive at the same time were actually separated by millions of years.
There is more time that separates Stegosaurus from T-Rex than separates T-Rex from us.
What?
Yeah.
That's an amazing fact. I had no idea.
The Stegosaurus was an ancient relic to the T-Rex. My whole childhood was a lie.
They're about to let me look for some dinosaur bones. I've been waiting for this moment my whole entire life, so no pressure, but if I don't find something, I'm gonna be devastated. I'm probably not gonna find anything. I'm probably gonna find like a chicken bone, but just searching. I'm so psyched.
But first, let me show you something. I'm trying to correct what I got wrong about dinosaurs, but understanding the news, especially science news, can be a challenge. That's why for this story, I wanted to partner with Ground News. Their website and app gathers related articles on the same topic in one place, so you can compare coverage and get a more well-rounded understanding of an issue. I use Ground News to understand the information that I'm reading, where it's coming from, and how factual it is, which is something that I care a lot about, and it's crucial for making huge if true. Like here, a few months ago, the Nobel Prize in Physics was awarded to AI researchers. On Ground News, I can see that over 300 news outlets reported on this. They also show you the political leaning of those news outlets and how reliable their reporting practices are. Plus, I can compare all the headlines. One outlet likens AI to the invention of penicillin, which changed the world, while another raises concerns about potential negative consequences of AI. I want to see the differences because I care about how news is framed, particularly when it comes to science and tech. If you do too, I think you'll appreciate Ground News. And right now, they're offering Huge If True viewers 50% off their Vantage plan. To check it out, just scan this QR code or go to ground.news/Cleo. Make sure to scan the QR code or use this link if you do sign up, because that helps out this channel. Big thanks to Ground News for sponsoring this video and for supporting optimistic, independent journalism. Now, back to the story. All right, here's how to hunt for dinosaurs. There are 2 rules.
So the first one is that you always want to be working horizontal to the bone layer. The reason being, like, as soon as you do this, you run the risk of like accidentally stabbing a bone.
Yeah.
The second rule is to always keep your sight clean. So we say a clean sight is a happy sight.
All right, the moment I've been waiting for my whole life. Here I go.
I'm just gonna be here for a while. Just you guys can go.
But as I worked, I wondered, how many of each dinosaur have we found?
Some huge proportion of species are known from a single specimen, which is crazy.
Yeah. Turns out almost half of all dinosaur species are known from a single specimen. And many of those fossils are incomplete, meaning we take the pieces that we do find and we extrapolate what the rest of it could have looked like. That makes the job of identifying what's a new species and what's just a piece of an already existing dinosaur really tricky.
We are nowhere near having all of the dinosaurs that ever lived.
And the dinosaurs that we have found aren't final. They're an ongoing group project among scientists all around the world. Take, for example, maybe the world's most famous dinosaur. The T-Rex didn't look like you think. Scientists and artists have been imagining dinosaurs for hundreds of years. Based on early discoveries, they thought that the T-Rex was a lean predator that stood upright like a kangaroo.
You may have seen the traditional T-Rex in the kangaroo pose, like standing up with his tail dragging on the ground.
But the more they compared the T-Rex's hip and thigh bones to modern upright animals, they realized that they didn't quite make sense. New computer models showed that standing upright would put too much weight on its hips, but leaning forward would be much more stable.
We now understand these animals are more like teeter-totters.
And they weren't very lean either. Rib-like bones were found with this old famous T-Rex skeleton, Sue. But it wasn't until 2018 when they realized that these ribs would have had to float in the T-Rex's abdomen, like crocodiles have today. And they realized that the T-Rex would have been way chunkier than they thought, which means that it was probably an ambush predator, jumping out at you, not a pursuit predator chasing you down in a Jeep. In fact, most dinosaurs were chunkier than people thought. But before I show you that,
Do you think that's a bone? I'm pretty sure both of these are bone. I'm pretty sure I found a dinosaur bone. I think I'm touching a dinosaur bone right now. Oh my God. Might also be a bone of like a large chicken or something. Am I right? Okay, I think there's two bones. I think this is a bone, and I think this is a bone under here too. Yep. Oh my God, they're everywhere.
I also didn't realize that I narrowly avoided disaster.
This is bone too, actually.
Stop, really?
Yep.
All right, I didn't spot that one. How do you know?
I can see like those little white specks in there. That's kind of like the Arrow chocolate bar.
Look at the texture of this. I had no idea what I was looking at. I thought I was looking for something like that, which is the outside of the bone, right?
Yeah.
That is the cross section. That's the arrow bar part, the inside texture. Good thing I didn't chip away at that one. Thank you. This is one of the coolest experiences of my life. I realize that this is just like another Tuesday for you, but this is really cool.
It is pretty cool. Like I said, the thrill never wears off.
But finding a bone isn't even the coolest part. We gotta get it back to the lab.
Is there any hope of actually pulling that bone out of the ground?
I think so.
To get it out of the ground intact, we had to make this paste and then paint it over the bone and wait until it dried. And while we were waiting, I realized that I still had a very basic question about all of this. And after I learned the answer, I'm never gonna look at a chicken the same way.
What qualifies as a dinosaur?
Good question. It is a phylogenetic question.
All right, so your great grandfather, over 10 to 15 million generations back, was a little lizard-like creature called an amniote. Scientists think that this was your most recent common ancestor with dinosaurs. Over millions of years, the amniote's kids adapted, and scientists grouped up the new species depending on their different characteristics. Scientifically speaking, a dinosaur is everything from here onward, which means some of the animals that people often call dinosaurs actually aren't.
So things like pterosaurs that actually belong to a different group of reptiles. Things like mosasaurs, plesiosaurs, ichthyosaurs are also not dinosaurs. Like, they live at the same time, but they belong to different groups of reptiles.
Crocodiles were alive back then too, which is crazy. But they're not dinosaurs because they actually branched off earlier. But if everything that descended from this branch onward is a dinosaur, then that means
Birds were dinosaurs, and therefore they are also dinosaurs.
birds are not the descendants of dinosaurs. They are actually dinosaurs by the most scientific definition. Dinosaurs are still alive, and they're all around you. But hang on. I thought that a meteor hit the Earth and caused the dinosaurs to go extinct. But if birds are still alive and birds are dinosaurs, what actually happened after the meteor hit? To answer that question, we gotta go to the lab.
Oh my God, this is like Santa's workshop. This is the coolest place I've ever been.
Let me show you some of the coolest things here.
This is a tyrannosaur tooth. Look at the serrated edges right there, you see it? For cutting flesh.
Look at that. That is a...
This is a break
That healed.
that healed. Yep.
Whoa.
So this is actually really important. It's basically like kind of fossilized physiology or fossilized behavior, which is not something that's easy to find in the fossil record.
Incredible.
So
It also just reinforces these were living animals. They had whole lives where they did all kinds of things and healed and, you know, had injuries and...
Yep, and got sick too. So this has a really abnormal growth, bone growth, right at the end of it. So we think that's either osteoarthritis or potentially a bone cancer. So if you were to...
Dinosaurs got cancer?
Yep.
We saw so many amazing things. And finally, I got to touch dinosaur skin.
That is not skin impression, that's the actual skin. So you can touch it if you want, it's like you're petting a dinosaur.
It feels like what I imagine an enormous chicken
Yep.
foot would feel like.
And on this one, this is another layer of skin. If you look closely, you can see there are different kinds of scales.
Yeah. Touching dinosaur skin was incredible. I closed my eyes and I imagined meeting a dinosaur. And then, looking at the skin, my question was,
do we know anything about color? Good question. So in general, we know what colors some dinosaurs were. The feathered dinosaurs in particular, because the feathers will sometimes preserve pigment.
Based on pigments in fossilized feathers, they know that some feathered dinosaurs were black and white with shiny feathers, and some had rust or deep red colors. Skin doesn't preserve color, but they have found shading, meaning that some dinosaurs likely had stripes.
We don't know if those stripes were black and white, if they were tan and black. We're not really sure of the color. The dinosaurs that you see reconstructed, it's based on our understanding of modern animals, how modern animals are colored.
But a little creative liberty in color isn't the main problem with dinosaur depictions today. Look at this. You might not recognize it, but this is a modern animal, alive today. If you took its skeleton and treated it in the same way that many early science illustrators treated dinosaurs. The problem here is they just wrapped the skin around the skeleton without taking into account any of the muscle and the fat, turning this animal into a monster. Can you guess what it is? That's a zebra. How about this one? That's a baboon. This one's my favorite. That's a hippo, if we treated it like science illustrators treated dinosaurs. This is called shrink wrapping. And today,
we now know that's probably not an accurate reflection of dinosaurs. They would have had a lot of muscle mass. Yeah, like just to move those things around.
Today, artists and scientists are working to correct that, adding more loose skin and muscles and fatty tissues, redefining what dinosaurs realistically looked like. Every bone that comes to the lab from the field needs to get cleaned. So, time to clean ours. So this is still covered in mud, but when it's cleaned, it'll look more like this surface right here. Sort of, you can see the shine.
This is a rib that is pretty close to being fully prepared. So you can see there's that shiny chocolate brown color.
These bones are brown because they're not like your bones right now. In fact, what we've been calling bones are really rocks. All dinosaur bones are fossilized, which means they're now made of rock.
You can think of fossil bones as basically an exact copy of the bone just made out of rock. The original bone material is there, but over millions of years, the minerals replaced the bone kind of like cell by cell, basically. And so it's an exact copy of what the bone looked like. It's just now made out of rock.
Every dinosaur in every museum is a stone replica of what was once a living, breathing animal. Which brings me to my last question. How did the big dinosaurs actually die? It started 66.04 million years ago, on a normal day in the dinosaur kingdom, except that a speck appeared in the sky. And over a few weeks, it got bigger and bigger and bigger until a huge rock, wider than Mount Everest is tall, traveling at 20 to 30 kilometers per second, hit the Earth right here. So hard it vaporized the entire space rock immediately, but catapulted chunks of Earth beyond the atmosphere, perhaps far enough to hit the moon. And on the surface, it created an apocalypse.
There would have been, this is what kind of terrifies me about this extinction, something called a thermal pulse, which is basically a wave of heat.
There would have been mega tsunamis that rippled across the planet. The immediate impact would have been awful to live through. But for the dinosaurs that did, the worst was still coming, because the whole planet was going dark.
The ejecta from the impact itself would have blocked out the sun.
With less light, the plants died, and the animals that ate the plants, and the animals that ate them, and up and up and up.
And the things that survive are the things that are small, they're the size of a German Shepherd and smaller. Things that had some kind of refugia, so they could go into water or they could live underground.
It must have been so scary. The fact that anything survived is pretty incredible. After 180 million years, the reign of the dinosaurs was over. What would the world have looked like if that rock had missed? We'll never know. But
ultimately, like a bad day on planet Earth for the dinosaurs, but a really great day for mammals. I mean, we are here today because of that extinction.
We're here today because of this whole crazy history, because dinosaurs lived and because they died. I think I liked dinosaurs as a kid because monsters. But the more I learn, I see they weren't monsters at all. They were animals. Animals that ruled the earth for millions of years before us. And now, I love them. And I love humans for how much care we take to study them. And the reason that we do that isn't just to understand how we got here, but also to understand where we're going.
The world we live in is just one very small slice of geologic time. Each different age can tell us something different about life on planet Earth, where we've been, where we are, and where we're going in the future.
This is the golden age of paleontology, and there is still so much that we don't know. And with more time and with more technology and more science, who knows what other mysteries are left to be unlocked.